Why, hello, and welcome everybody to Talking is a Free Action. This is our weekly show where inhabitants of the material plane are lifted entirely voluntarily and not at all against their own volition to be put through a series of challenge rooms and questions so that we can see what makes them tick. To what end, you might ask? Well, blasted if I know. We're certainly not trying to learn all of their weaknesses and flaws for any imminent invasion or anything of the sort. My name is the Forgemaster, and I represent the Question Masters, your friendly local inquisitors. You find yourself in my artificery of authenticity, and for your delectation today I have obtained a mortal known as Testimonial, a very interesting personage if you don't mind my say so. I also have reason to believe that this Mr. Testimonial is connected to other characters in the material plane through a higher being known as Steve, who resides in a plane known as the real world. And we are hoping to acquire some juicy tidbits from this Steve as well. Testimonial, are you present and accounted for?
Yes. I sketched out the layout of the room. I've copied most of what you've said in the way that you've said it. Please excuse any diacritical marks that may have got astray. Yes.
Oh, good. So you're a note taker then.
Old force of habit. When your career is in note taking and quill crafting and other forms of stationery. Just one never stops testing.
All right. Well, we'll see whether any of this actually remains with you after the hour is done. Because, well, shall we just say that you will certainly not remember a thing. But before we begin,
I'll press extra hard on the paper.
Maybe try to push through to a couple of layers just in case I miss one. But before we begin your ordeal, force of habit, challenges. Of course, we have our wonderful sponsors and supporters to thank, so please send your gratitude via whatever societal medium that you favour to the sponsorial entity known as Phoenix Dice, and to our supporters Idle Champions, Elderwood Academy and D&D Beyond. Furthermore, we have a special fondness for our audience members who are known as the D20 Club, a superior and exclusive club that you could join by supporting us on Patreon, of course. If you are unable to descend into the artificery of authenticity in person, you can also listen to us on your favourite podcasting app by searching for Roll Together RPG. And if you wanted to converse with us via the mysteries of the World Wide Web, our influence has spread to various societal medium under the moniker Roll Together RPG. Now, Testimonial. The artificery of authenticity has summoned you. Over the next 55 minutes or so, you shall walk about my workshop. Behind each door is a challenge to overcome. But remember, talking is a free action. At any point, if you decide that you can't hope to overcome an encounter without loss of face, and trust me, there are several different interpretations of that, all of which are possible here, then you can take a pass at the meager cost of some of your higher being's deepest secrets. Be wary, though, as my influence over here only lasts for around an hour, at which point you'll be safely dropped back at the exact moment you left, and you'll forget that this ever happened. Do you have anything to say for yourself before we begin?
Struck with sage fright. Must mean that it's real. So let's go for it.
Oh, it's very real. Let me assure you that. And just to prove that it's real, I'm going to ask you to roll a very real D100.
A D100?
Please do, yes. And let me know the answer, obviously.
Obviously. Starting off with a 3.
A 3? I don't know why everybody always starts off low with me. So,
proper foundations and all.
As I remove the fob of keys from my pocket, and you can see that there's a very large number of keys. Difficult to say, but you'd estimate in the 50s, 60s maybe. I jangle these keys and I go over to a door. Doesn't seem to matter which door, however, because I just pull a key and it seems to fit. And as we walk through, And you follow me in, I'm supposing, otherwise we'd just stand around in this workshop for a while.
I follow through?
I'm assuming you did.
A safe distance.
So you enter into an ornate room with wood-paneled walls and plush velvet curtains surrounding a doorway ahead of you. On the door itself is a gleaming golden clock with intricate cogs and mechanisms whirling behind it. A panel below the clock reads the following. My long and short hands sneak many momentary brushes twixt midnight and mid-noon. But how many?
Many brushes twixt midnight and mid-noon.
My long and short hands.
So this craftsmanship looks exquisite. Is this your work? Is this Rileve work? Where
no.
Just
well, I don't like to toot my own horn, but yes, it is indeed my own work. Very, very, very fine filigreed gold, I think you'll find.
Extraordinary. So twixt midnight and mid-noon is one complete sweep around. So I would say that I would hazard between is 11.
That was remarkably quick. I didn't even have to ask you to roll anything. 11 is the right answer, yes. 12
Excellent.
hours, and you don't quite get the full 12 when it's between those times. So there's not very much more to say about that one. You solved the riddle in, well, perfect timing, if you don't mind the slight clock pun.
Excellent. I'll note that one for later. I'll save that for a party.
Indeed, you try that. I would like you then to roll another D100, something a bit higher than a 3, though, shall we?
Well, let's let's see how it all feels. 100. I've gone the other way.
You have oscillated right to the other end of the spectrum, which is going to mean a lot of scrolling for me. By which I mean I've got this scroll and it's right on the other end of it. I've just got to get. All right. So the clock door opens as soon as you've said the correct answer. And just nuzzles open. And as we go through the door, you find yourself in a room full of many and various keys, not unlike the ones I've got in my fob, in fact.
Keys. Okay.
All sorts of different keys, you'd say. There's your kind of deadbolt keys and your chub keys, all arrayed around the room on various hooks. The entire room is festooned with keys. They hang on pegs. Some of them are piled on the floor, some of them merely just hanging off of a nail. And on the other side of the room, there is a large door with a keyhole and a little doormat saying, "Bless this mess." What would you like to do?
What would I like to do? An enormity of keys. A singular keyhole.
One would presume that only one would lead the way.
That would be actually my fear. That only one would do. I feel the need to talk it out. I feel the need to say talking is a free action. And
talking is a free action. Very well. Right. Well, in that case, I'll drop the accent and say hello, Steve. Thank you very much for joining me.
Hello, Sean. Very glad to be here.
Yeah, good to see you. Haven't seen you since the Christmas one-shot. That was the last time we played together.
That's the last time, and that's where Testimonial got introduced.
Indeed. So I'm very happy that I was the one who drew the short straw. No, it wasn't a short straw at all. Yes, no, very happy that I happened to be free at the same time as you to do this. And welcome. Lovely to have you on the show. So we also have a question list. So could you roll me a D100 to see what question I'm going to ask you?
All right.
We don't really have a talking as a free action equivalent if you don't like the question. You can just tell me.
Sure. I like to chatterbox. 21.
21. Back down the bottom end.
Which I'm incapable of saying without adding har har, hardy har har from a Looney Tunes cartoon.
I might have
a game of blackjack where Bugs Bunny holds on one card. And it's
nice.
21.
I'm going to have to Google that one now. Find it as a GIF. I think that's how people watch things now. TikToks and GIFs.
Yes.
Probably less the GIFs. That's just me being old. So 21. What is Testimonial's morning routine?
Testimonial's morning routine is making sure the ink's dried on the previous night's journal entries, because the pages are laid flat. He's not too concerned about secrets. He is very concerned about smudging. So he up out of bed, make sure that the volume has the ink is dried on the page, turns over the page, and then runs off to organize the morning cup of coffee, a light muesli breakfast, and of course last night's playbills or theatrical reviews or whatever happens to come, be waiting for him at the post, because he's obsessed with the theater from the audience perspective, and how the audience could be better behaved, how the audience could help the best audience could help inform greater performance or evoke greater performances from the stage.
Probably
that's his goal.
as a critic that sits there critiquing the audience that he happens to be attending with.
Exactly.
I guess.
Exactly. Right. And if the audience was just a little bit better, then maybe the performance could just be that much more magical.
Exactly. Just elevator soar. Just audience, remember that. You're fine. You're a good audience.
Impeccable.
I don't feel like I got to learn anything about you, though, in that question. So I'm going to ask you to roll another one, and let's see if we can find something out about Steve this time, not about Testimonial.
A Steve question. Okay. Here we're looking at 97.
97.
All dice are like this. Digital, physical.
Indeed.
Chaos.
So 97. I'm still a little bit gamey, but I think we will learn something about you anyway.
Okay.
If you could go back and change an in-game decision, what would it be? Is there any kind of moments, not necessarily as Testimonial, like anything when you've been playing D&D, where a night's rest and you've suddenly thought of the perfect?
An in-game decision that I would love to change. I think it would be maybe a DM decision. When I was running a game, with the kids, we were playing the starter set, the Phandelver encounter, and there was a dragon. There was a dragon to the right, and there were more zombies of a type that they'd already defeated before to the left, and I urged them towards the right, and I feel that it didn't end in a total party kill, but it got very close to it. So I would have I should have routed them through the zombies for a little bit more prep, a little bit more treasure. There were some useful potions over there before throwing them up against an albeit very young green dragon, but still a green dragon. It was too soon.
I think it's one of those, like, the most difficult things about being a DM is just, you're in the moment. You can only plan so far. Like you never know really what they're going to do. And in some ways, them doing what you've been urging them to do is actually the thing you've probably planned the least for.
I was hoping it would roll. I was just so excited. Their first dragon, then without properly, accounted for how they would reasonably play against it, and because I thought they would riddle it. I thought they would talk, but no, they went in, swords and wands blazing, and I'm like, and then tried to mitigate it. I rolled random attacks, like in front of them, and just say, like, it's not me, it's not Dad doing this, and then but please run away.
Did you say it's not Dad doing this? Was this a game for your kids?
Yeah, it was a game for my kids.
Yeah, that's it's past bedtime. All right, killing you.
Let's wrap that up.
Lovely. I'm getting greedy. I want another one of these, and then we'll go back to the key room.
Sure thing. So here we go. And that's an 82, slightly
82.
more within range.
Yeah, not quite so much scrolling for me. But quite a hard question for you, I think.
Okay.
Who is your favorite character?
Who is my favorite character?
Now, I will caveat this with, it doesn't have to be a character that you've played or DM'd. This could be in a TV show. Just a character, I guess, that you like. You can restrict it if, however, that makes it easier.
That's just a bewildering array of characters. So in terms of play, I don't know. They're all fun. They're all fun independently. Let's go with media. I don't know if you've watched the Foundation series on Apple TV.
No, I don't have Apple TV. It's a difficulty with nowadays with so many different streaming services.
It's true.
We're kind of looping background to it. No, I'm just going to pirate. I'm not going to pirate it. Don't come for me, Apple.
No.
I just won't watch your show.
The character of the Emperor in the Foundation. I don't have spoiler warnings for all and sundry. The character of the Emperor is absolutely fascinating, the way that they've set up this character over the long span of the Foundation timeline. I find that completely interesting. So now I'm a little shy to spoil things for the show, but the notion is that the emperors are all the Emperor's Cleon. I don't remember if they're in the original book. Are eternally long-lived family of brotherhood of clones. So there's a young one, there's the middle-aged, the adult one, and then an elder one. And it's just fascinating to watch Lee Pace playing the middle Cleon take all the cues from, say, an impetuous younger version in one season, and then they do a flash forward and he's playing the impetuous adult version, and then to see that baton get passed later on, I find just that character completely fascinating. Can't take my eyes off it, because it's all this continuity between three different actors. It's an interesting exercise in cooperation.
I'll definitely have to check that one out. Maybe see if there's such a thing as a free trial, or anything of the like, so that I can try and binge it.
Get a 7-day free trial and take a run through it.
7-day free trial and some time off work and no sleep. Right, I think we'll descend back down into the mind of Testimonial and the Forgemaster, and suddenly we are back in the key room, where I'm simply going to just spoon through my reel of keys, and you find one that looks a little bit like an index finger. This would be my skeleton key, and I just kind of stick that in the lock, and on we go. Never want to go into a room when you haven't got a backup way out, just in case you can't find the actual key.
Why? And Testimony is just scanning the room, to still mentally trying to match all the shapes to the keyhole, and it just gives up and runs through it.
Sometimes it's like that. Could you roll me a D100?
A D100? Certainly. 2 10s added together. Oh, an 11.
An 11. All right. Scrolling right back up to the other side. Oh. So we open this door, and quite strange. We've been indoors this whole time, and we open this door, and suddenly we're outside. And if you were to glance around the door frame, you'd notice that actually there's no building that this door frame is attached to. Simply a standing door in the middle of a rather large crevice, a grand canyon, some might say, were they of the mindset to put those two words together. But on the other side of the canyon, and it has to be said, moving towards you at quite a pace, there is a Tarrasque. I don't know what to tell you. It's one of those. Do you know what one of those is?
I have seen a remarkable stage simulation, but never quite
But you know
daunting.
enough to know that you're pretty much doomed.
Pretty, very, very much doomed, but also sketching badly because, my goodness, the stage version forgot so many points of articulation that the real thing provided. Yes.
Any last words before we are irrevocably nommed to bits?
Talking is a free action. Get me out of here.
Fair enough. I mean, as far as last words go, those are actually quite good last words. All right, let's go for more questions then. Please roll me a D100.
D100. I can't.
You'd have been safe. We wouldn't have been eaten.
I've just like what would have the wonder done? Like turned it. Maybe it made me very big. 71.
71. That is. Oh, okay. I'm actually not that I wasn't interested before, but this is one of my favorite questions, I'd say.
Okay.
How did you start playing TTRPGs?
How did I start playing TTRPGs?
Yeah, how did you start?
A slightly older cousin is was the gateway to that. Not really a cousin, more like my parents went on a summer holiday tour visiting their friends, and so their old friends, they had an older son, and when we went to go stay for about a week, my brother and I were too young to be cool and interesting while he went off and did other things, but we had sort of free run of the of his room and his game room. So there were old comic books, and there was a stack of AD&D source books. So we just grabbed the D&D's and Demigods Encyclopedia. We grabbed the Monster Manual and just read through them over the course of the summer, and then found the basic set and played an attempt at mashing up, because we didn't realize the rules were different, things from AD&D First Edition with Keep on the Borderlands, and then found our way through it. It was baffling, but so fun to go through and connect the monsters to the map and roll things for damage. That's kind of how that started.
So you didn't even show you themselves. They just you just were locked in a room and discovered them under some other things, some socks and clothes.
Exactly. It was summer. It was hot. It was air conditioned. He was running off doing other things, and so that's how we figured it out. And then we were quite young. We were still in elementary school. So then we reported our discovery the following year. Then our friends got into it, so we started to play. I guess we must have been like 9 or 10.
Amazing.
Where we dove into it and played intensely for, I think, until we were 13 or something like that, and then took a high school break and did other things. But that was
because you were finally cool enough to not do the thing.
I don't know if it was a question of cool, not cool, but there were just more things to do. And so that's how so it went and bought books and modules as they came out, all gift money and allowance was carefully saved and spent, and then devoured whatever was the latest thing in Dragon Magazine, and that was the start.
The rest is history.
Well, yeah, and then you felt there's a gap, and then I fell back into it with third edition, and then it just sort of all came along. I never stopped playing since. Or haven't stopped playing since.
Haven't stopped playing yet, but we're not going to think about that. I'm gonna squeeze in another question before we go back.
Sure.
So yeah, another D100, please.
D100. Oh, this is a 55.
55, down more or less the middle. Oh, all right. Well, oscillated from one end of the table to the other. Oscillated from my favorite question to probably my least favorite question.
Oh no!
You must kill off one of your living D&D characters. Who and how?
Who and how?
Mm.
I think it would have to be Bibbles Decrescendo.
What was that name?
Bibbles Decrescendo, who is a Triton bard.
Okay.
And just always bobbles the lyrics when it comes time to casting their spells. So I would find a way for them to assume that this was their spotlight moment, and I would force a fumble and completely fail to seduce, like, I don't know, the aboleth, and meet an untimely end that way.
Oh, well, sorry, Bibbles. Them's the breaks.
Them's the break.
Yeah, I think we shall descend back into the consciousness of Forgemaster and Testimonial, and you'll be glad to know that we're no longer in that canyon of greatness. Nope, it was all an illusion anyway. It's just it was a minor illusion, but very, very close. So you couldn't quite tell who it is.
Couldn't quite. No, stuck my hand out still.
Right, could you roll me a D100 and we'll see where this door leads us.
D100?
Seem to be blooming. Oh, I'm back.
There we go. 27.
27. Right, lovely. In that second quartile. 127. I haven't got 100 numbers.
No, I'm just taking my list. I'm trying to find a pattern in the rolls. I feel that there are other numbers in my head, but 3, 100, 11, 27. Forgemaster.
Right. So I think that as the gaping maw of the Tarask, that this leaves our field of vision, and yet there is a taste on the wind from its breath that kind of blows past your face, and you realize that it suddenly morphs into a salty sea air, and we find ourselves on the open docks of Luskan. People are going about their daily business, but as they do, you notice a plump-looking coin purse unattended in the middle of the thoroughfare. Do you want to pick it up, or it's right there?
I mean, it's right there, and it's a crowded thoroughfare, and people should know if they've lost their coin purse. It's also Luskan, which is not.
It is. People seem to be going about their business. Nobody seems to care. So it says right there for you to just pick up.
I think I will. I think that's exactly what I'll do. I will walk over and I'll give it a poke with my quill, just to check, if it's as solid as a Tarask, which now has a new meaning for me forever.
It is more solid than a Tarask.
More solid than a Tarask.
It is present. It clinks in a pleasing manner.
So I pick it up and I scrutinize it for, on the outside at least, for identifying marks, sigils, logos, scratches, whatnot.
Give me a history check.
History check. Would be for an 11 total.
An 11. Something at the back of your mind kind of itches, but you don't quite recognize it at this point. I'll also give you for free that it's not trapped. This isn't that kind of room, so you can feel free to examine the contents as well if you wish.
Well, then I'll undo the cord, flip up any flaps, and take a look at what's inside. What do I find?
Well, you find somewhere in the region of 200 gold pieces. And as you kind of root around, you find a sketch, an artist's portrait of, who is your mortal enemy?
It's my...
Do you have a mortal enemy, or maybe a rival critic in Waterdeep?
I do believe that the editor of the Waterhavian Trapdoor Gazette is not fond of the number of letters that I've been writing to them, because they've been edited ruthlessly and without regard to nuance. And so I think that this Mr. Barbaro Fitzwilliam is the person on this sketch. Barbaro, frankly, barbaric, if I may be so bold as to say, but I wouldn't say it so much. But this is all a dream, so perhaps the truth is coming out.
I mean, you could treat it like a dream. That's fine. It's perfectly real, but then we'll be wiping your memory. It's a very different, nuanced detail. Well, so you find a picture of Mr. Fitzwilliam, artist portrait, if you will, of Fitzwilliam playing with a pair of children that bear a striking resemblance to Mr. Fitzwilliams. And you do notice as well, just as you're kind of scanning around, there is a guard standing idly nearby that hasn't noticed. What would you do in this instance? You've got a coin purse, 200 gold pieces. Purse? Belongs to that dastardly Fitzwilliam.
Wow, I mean...
And his children.
And his... and his children. Well, I mean, he's clearly traveling. And if he's traveling, he need, money is always of an interest. And it is my most fervent hope that he's traveling for business to open a gazette somewhere else, or at a stage that I don't have to see or therefore comment on. So I would approach the guard and turn this and turn this purse over in the hopes that Barbara will stay in Luskin and far away from the theaters that I hold so dear.
I see. So you've done the noble action, but for slightly ignoble reasons.
I mean, it's for the benefit of the town, because without the full breadth of my reportage of the critique, well then, how can anybody hope to improve? So
that is true. It is for the greater good, and also very slightly your own advancement. The guard takes the coin purse. You get, even though you're in Luskan, you do get a kind of air that this is a good one. It's a very difficult job being a guard, so I think you need to be honest if you're going to stick to it. So you get the feeling that, if at all possible, the coin purse is going to be returned to Barbaro.
Excellent. Excellent. That is my fervent wish.
And
he has what he needs to stay away.
And you can move on guilt-free for the most part. Please roll me another D100.
A D100. Off we go.
Yes, we haven't quite visited enough rooms for me to rank us down to a D90, if such a thing even exists.
21.
21. Right.
Har har. Party.
Har har. So we take a sidestep. We enter a tavern in Luskan, but you see that I use my keys. I actually have to pull the door to, because the tavern was open. I pull the door to, I turn the lock, and as we open, the bustling noise of the tavern seems to have disappeared. And as we walk through, we seem to be in a farmyard. Dust swirling around our feet. It's a very frontier-style farmyard with, more dirt and fewer kind of, less grass, shall we say, more shrubbery. And as the dust clears, you find yourself confronted by a single chicken.
A single chicken?
Give me a perception roll.
Here we go. A 5.
5. Right, well, you don't look that closely, it's a chicken.
Chicken.
However, you kind of blink and you realize, well, hang about. What you thought was a chicken is in fact an abyssal chicken. And you blink again, and you realize that it was actually 100 abyssal chickens standing in a row, so you couldn't quite see the ones behind. And they all sort of come out. Some of them are kind of clicking, Jets and Shark style. How do you escape from 100 abyssal chickens?
Oh my goodness. How would I escape from 100 abyssal chickens? So I think...
Question of the day, I think.
I think that is there like an abyssal, like a single abyssal horse? What should I be doing? I believe
There's a milking yard where there's some abyssal cows just
some abyssal cows
giving of their abyssal milk. That's a phrase I didn't expect to be saying today.
It's a phrase one only says desperately when needed. I can't remember. Oh no, I only speak deep speech, not abyssal. So let us.
I mean, I'm now imagining if you had spoken abyssal, having to suddenly remember what the abyssal word for
Exactly. Okay, so according to moments of improvisation and a quick reading of rules as written, I would alter myself to look like a slightly large abyssal chicken, and then I would pat myself, walk around the column of chickens to see if there's a road that they may have crossed. I'd want to see what's on the other side of it, or to see what's at the end of the column.
Perfect. Right. Well, you change your appearance, and the chickens seem none the wiser. They slightly wonder where dinner has gone, but looking around, and yes, you can indeed cross the road to the other side, and you're none the wiser as to why they were on this side of the road instead of that one. The abyssal grass is greener, perhaps. But there is, however, a door frame.
Mm.
And as I jangle my keys, would you like to roll a D100 to find out which one indeed I'm going to use?
Which key shall it be? Oh, is the key the secret and not the door? Fascinating. 92.
92. That sounds rather close to a door that we may have already been through. But let me have a look. No, I think we just avoided it. Right. So as I open the door and you peer through and slightly trippily look, and there's the door just framed just there, and then but it doesn't look like that on the other side. But we go through and all the same. And we find ourselves in a cozy, comfortable lounge. There's all sorts of divans and sedans and other things that end with Dan, apparently. But there is a tiefling reclining on an overstuffed sofa in one corner. They give you a warm, welcoming smile and ask you, what number am I thinking of?
May I? These are always games of observation, and of course, personal charm and humor. So, can I quickly investigate the room to see if there's any unusual assembly of things that might prompt a number to be called to mind?
Interesting. Yes, of course. Please roll me, and I think an investigation roll, because you're peering slightly closer at the items in the room. Correct?
I'm looking for things, for shapes, for counts. Maybe somebody's cast an interesting shadow that says something. 16 is the number for my check.
16, and I think that being above average is probably enough for you to look around. As you peer around the room, on first glance, moving your head around, you don't see anything. But then, as you kind of slightly move one inch to the left, your next scan, and all of the chairs and the picture frames and some of the lighting posts just line up well enough that suddenly a number jumps out to you. It's 1016.
1016. Well, that
it's a very optical illusion, kind of. You wouldn't have seen it if you weren't standing just so.
One of those gestalt trompe l'oeil type of things. So yes, that's what I tell the tiefling. I say 1016. Sorry, a little bit of deep speech came out.
The tiefling looks, relatively annoyed, but then also It passes, and an impressed face appears on their face. They look pleased. They say nothing more, but beckon for you to approach the table where there's a number of goblets of wine and spirits and various things. Where you can furnish yourself with a drink as a well done for seeing through their mean ruse. Yeah, seeing through.
So, okay. So I stand at the table and mix myself a combination of drinks, some form of Negroni with Prosecco in it, or something memeable like that. And I introduce myself. Testimonial Rattle Ward. Student of theatrical arts. Occasional dabbler in illusions. Do you have a story that you'd like to share? Trying to make conversation with the tiefling.
The tiefling looks over at you, laughs, and in a flutter of butterflies sit in their space instead, which has nothing to do with the fact that I haven't got a name for a tiefling at my beck and call. There is, however,
yes.
And you notice underneath the sofa that they were sitting on, there's a trap door.
Oh.
You can go for a door downwards for once.
Okay. Well, I'm fascinated because, I mean, of course, the presentation of the stagecraft is amazing. So I'll finish the drink, and then Forgemaster.
Indeed,
let us hence.
Please roll me a D100. You're whizzing through. Don't normally get through this many rooms.
46.
46 or 26?
46.
46. Oh, the pendulum is oscillating more towards the middle again. Interesting. So, shunt the sofa to one side, and I furnish myself with a black iron-looking key, which I open the trapdoor and pull it to, and you can see a staircase descending downwards. And as we descend down this slightly rickety wooden staircase, with a handrail, don't worry, it's perfectly safe, you can hear the noise of a rowdy tavern, as if we were just coming down from the rooms in an inn. Amongst the patrons, you notice a rowdy table of dwarves, all of them drinking and clapping each other on the back. Ah! You're here? Come! Sit! We're telling tales of our legendary exploits. Halfroik here has just been claiming that no one can beat the time that they survived a shipwreck along the Sword Coast by taming a plesiosaur and riding it straight into Waterdeep Harbour. What do you reckon? What have you done that's worthy of a tavern brag? And they all stare at you.
And they all stare at me
with bated breath.
Well, I'm not much for crowd work the way that you've described, as magnificent as it is, because I mean, plesiosaurs are notoriously tough to wrangle. They're definitely tough to stage. But I did spend a moment helping the god of death deal with a particularly harsh dramatic portrayal, and I was able to convince them that there was no reason to fight the playwright, but instead to embrace the gift of art towards them. And I think if it's good enough for Erebos, then I think that somebody should make a play about your friend's adventure.
And for those of you who are wondering, you can watch these exploits in Live Fast, Die Free, available on YouTube and all sorts of other places, probably. The dwarves sit there. The bit of an uncomfortable silence before they go, "Hey, and easy, good for a laugh. The god of the underworld, that's good. Boss, how did you get out?"
Talking is a free action.
Fair. Spoiler for the end of the show, maybe. All right, let's roll a D100 on the question list then.
On the question list, let's see what Steve's rolls are like compared to Testimonials.
Mm-hmm. All over the place?
All over the place. A 9.
9, back to the top. Ooh, okay. How would Testimonial deal with karaoke, and what would their go-to song be?
Oh my goodness. Testimonial dreams of karaoke. Testimonial is too always forgets to study thaumaturgy to like build his own backup band for it. But Testimonial would love to go up to Smells Like Teen Spirit, but actually sing the lyrics to Never Gonna Give You Up, because they're the same meter. If these bands and these songs existed in in Faerun, which I believe they do, of course, because great music transcends dimensional plane, I think he would Rick Astley. He would Rick roll the heck out of Smells Like Teen Spirit.
That's genuinely a good tagline. I might have to steal it. Good music transcends. I'll get it off of the VOD when we've done this.
Yeah, there's no way I'll remember. It's all in Rob.
Good line though. Good line. Like it. Fab. So what you're saying is Testimonial is a Rickroller.
He's a Rickroller, and Testimonial as thinks that he tries to be slightly too clever for his own good. So it will be, his performance scores will probably suffer for it, but that would be his goal if he had karaoke on hand.
Well, we'll have to see if the tavern, when we go back to it, has a little karaoke stage in the corner. We'll see. Let's do another question, shall we? Another D100
Yes.
on the question board.
Here we go. 36.
36.
Yes.
Okay. How much do you like to bring real-world experiences into your games? So I'm going to let you think for a bit. Oh, have you got an answer?
Well, I don't think I bring real world experiences into the games, like sort of like past conversations that I've had with people and things like that. But I do very much like using real life events or celebrity gossip or whatnot to inform my NPC names and funny voices, because it's always you never expect which tavern member the party's going to talk to. You want to know how they go about it. So whatever singer or celebrity or politician happens to be in the news, I'll very often reach for that. It's my first gasp. Fortunately, my kids like to keep me apprised of what else is going on in the world outside of my usual media sphere. So I'm constantly being presented a bunch of TikTok. So there's a lot of jokes that I can bring out and try to use slightly incorrectly, much to their bemusement. But it's a lot of fun to see their reactions.
I mean, to be fair, like sometimes deliberately misusing the slang, it kind of makes it slightly more special for them still, and actually it's quite funny for us. like adding the in front of like the Pokemon or
yes.
Are you playing the Legend of no, that one didn't work.
Legend of the Zelda,
Legend of the Zelda. Yeah, just move the around.
Yeah.
Are you playing Legend of Zelda?
And they're like, no. It's wonderful. It's low level trolling is great.
Yeah.
In every game.
Set up the kind of seeds of he doesn't know what he's doing until the one moment where it's perfect and you can just go yes. Right at the top, the Ollie. I don't know the slang. I unfortunately do not have kids who do not therefore keep me up to date with anything new. If I want to go to TikTok, I have to go myself, and
oh no,
it's not going to happen.
It's wild out there. I don't know. I'm not brave enough.
Let us descend back into the dungeon, and does Testimonial become self-aware again? You become aware of a tray of mugs of ale being dropped, and the focus shifts away from Testimonial and the end of that question, and the dwarves and go back to their own little discussion on their table. And you may feel free to slip away and roll yourself another D100 as I open the door to the tavern. It's pouring down outside, so I think, no, I'll shut that door and I'll use a different key.
Use a different key. So, key number 6 is the key that I would recommend.
Bowling through, and I find number 6 very quickly because there's only 5 before it. What is the one lie? I'm still on the question board, but I'm going to ask this to Testimonial anyway. What is the one lie that your character tells themselves? No, Testimonial, what's the one lie that you tell yourself?
One lie that I would only tell you, Forgemaster, is that.
Go on.
I've never paid for my own tickets to the theater.
Always getting the comp tickets, getting through on the on the journalist pass, are you?
I know somebody who works at the door, who works as part of the maintenance staff, and I don't tell anybody this, but this is what I get to the theater. I'm actually supposed to be working, but I always wear the finest suit under the overalls so that I can attend.
I mean, obviously, it's the finest suit because you can afford it because you never paid for theatre tickets in your life. It makes perfect sense. Of course.
I mean, it all rounds out. I think. I'm undercover, you see.
That's going to need some more delving into, but perhaps on another time. That was an interesting diversion, but as I reopen the door, we enter the room on the table that I should have been rolling. We seem to have gone out of a pub and straight into a small hut with a thatched roof.
Okay.
In the centre, keeping up appearances and all the stereotypes, there is a hag toiling over a cauldron. And she says, oh, she is a stereotype. I am poisoned, one of your nearest and dearest friends. But fear not, I do have an antidote, and I am more than happy to give it to you. But you need to give me something in return.
Anything for Roger.
Roger? Wasn't Roger a rat?
Roger is more than just a rat. He's an extraordinary friend to my other extraordinary friend, Gardot. Save me from many a pickle. What
read the names on the bottle before I go. Oh yes, sir. I'll take this. I'll poison Roger, of course. But sure, Roger deserves it. Didn't tell me it was a rat. What would you give me to save Roger? I'm just as interested in the esoteric as the physical, I shall tell you.
Well, I'll straighten my tie. I would give you. I would give you an uncast spell.
Interesting. Oh, what you're telling me is a spell that at some point in the future, you won't know when, fizzle out. Gone. Didn't know.
Precisely.
Yeah, I'll take this off you. As she reaches out, her hand stops before your chest. She doesn't need to go anywhere internal or anything like that, but she just and you feel a slight diminishing of your magical being, as it were, and you suspect that the bargain has been made. Right. Well, this is the antidote to what appears to have been rat poison. Store-bought. This is actually just soup. You may give that to Roger when you exceed them. Ah! with a puff of moths this
Strange
time.
creature. Moths this time.
The
Okay.
hag disappears into the mist and then kind of realizes that she was indoors and the moths kind of bat around on the door frame, and it's a little bit sad, really. So maybe we should...
Candle.
I think I'm going to try and squeeze in one final room.
One final
room. Yes, the
Forgemaster.
last key. Please roll me a D100.
With this D100, I roll an 85.
85, a very nice number. But is it a very nice room? That will be seen. We open the door on the other side of this thatched roof cottage, and we enter into a sandstone walled room, detritus of dead adventurers littered around the floor. There's a pedestal in the center, which holds a large pink gem, which seems to be calling you to it. Above the door is a gem-shaped hole, and a neon sign, completely incongruous to the rest of the setting, flashes saying, "Insert gem to exit," with a large arrow for effect. What would you like to do?
I am always delighted to collect and interact and examine gems. So I pick up the large gem, and rather than sliding it, I really want to lift it up and delicately lay it into the appropriate indicated location.
Well, the trouble with this room is if you remove this gem without providing a counterweight, the floor and ceiling suddenly become portals. And you find yourself slipping through it. The sandstone becomes actual sand, and you slip through, and you find yourself falling from the ceiling back through the floor. Infinitesimal. I can't say that word. Infinitesimal. Forever, you fall. You can still see the portal. You can still see the door. You do still have the gem, but how do you get out of this one, shall we say?
The pedestal is still there?
Pedestal's still there. You haven't quite reached terminal velocity just yet.
Well, then my greatest, most theatrical spell might be the one that gets me out of it. I will thunderstep up towards the pedestal because I'm holding an object that is, of course, less than my weight. And it's nice and dramatic. So ideally with a big, I appear above the pedestal and plop the gem in place.
Lovely. So you're putting it back where it was.
I'm putting it back where it's supposed to be, indicated spot where it's supposed to be.
Where it's
that was
the neon. There's like a doorstep that you can stand on. That's absolutely fine. Yes, you can do that, and you can just about reach the nook above the door where the gem should go. As far as you've been told, anyway. You place the gem back in?
I place the gem back in.
And with a grinding of stone, you can see that the passageway opens up, and you find yourself back in my workshop. But I'm afraid we've pretty much come to the end of our time here in the artificery of authenticity. So, all that really remains for me to say is, thank you all and sundry for joining us for Talking is a Free Action. You will find us here every Friday from 6 to 7 p.m. BST, and other time zones are available, as Steve well knows, as well as on Mondays and Tuesdays between 6 and 9 p.m. for our live streams, where we watch the exploits of mortals such as Testimonial from the shadows. On a Monday, you can watch Testimonial in, you're going to have to remind me what...
a scaling effect.
Scaling effect you find yourself in, thank you very much. While on a Tuesday, we take a trip down memory lane with Gloom Falls, I believe it is, still. Gloom Falls, most likely. All of this, of course, streams at twitch.tv/rolltogetherrpg, and VODs are available immediately after the stream so that you can catch up. Or you can find all of our content on YouTube a mere few days later. And don't forget that you can also enjoy them as a podcast, if, of course, you wish to hear me rambling and never once describing the actual actions that are happening as I'm wont to do. Many thank yous again to our D20 Club on Patreon. If you would like to support us, you can do so from as little as one of your local currency per month. And thank you to all of our sponsors and supporters as well. Testimonial. Before you go, is there anything last that you would like to say before the past hour is plucked from your memory? Oh, and I'll probably have to remove some of those documents as well.
Well, please accept these notes on presentation, theme, description, and with some modest suggestions for improvements for further adventures as my gift to you. It was a remarkable preview of what I think will be an excellent career that you have ahead.
Excellent. I have to say that that's worked out very well because I didn't have to take any notes myself. Brilliant. Well, as I lead you through the workshop and out via the final portal, before you go, please remember the ancient question master proverb. Always stay classy at the table.